Something new to honor something old. Tonight, the Tennessee Gas Association, for the first time, presents its Distinguished Pioneer Award to honor those who were there in TGA's founding years.
Well, TGA has been around since the early 60s, and it's grown into what I think is the best state gas association in the industry. And it's only fitting that we honor those gentlemen who formed the association way back when.
Some, like Luther Mathis of Cookeville, will be honored posthumously. Beginning in 1954, Luther Mathis was Mr. Natural Gas in Cookeville. He passed away in July 2007. Others, like Thomas R. Bell of Knoxville, are still active. Tom Bell joined East Tennessee Natural Gas in 1950, served as company president from 1973 until 1991. Tonight, these two pioneers share the first ever Pioneer Award. Luther Mathis was a longtime member of the TGA Board of Directors and served as TGA president in 1973 to 74. Married to Joe Mathis for over 59 years, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, a community leader in Cookeville for over half a century.
Well, Luther was the first superintendent with the gas system in Cookeville. Started when it was being constructed, went door to door selling the gas hookups, did everything from help digging the ditches to setting the budget.
Luther was well respected. He was well respected within his church. He worked with the Gideons, he worked with the community, he was on the hospital board for a term. He worked with most any group that would come to him and ask him for help. So Luther Mathis' strength was sincere, honest, worked hard, loved the gas department. That was his first love.
You could write a book about Luther. Luther was certainly a very unusual individual and certainly instrumental, and I think was certainly a great asset to the association.
Oh, Luther was always the steady hand. Luther was, he was everybody's friend. I don't think Luther had an enemy. He was an excellent person. He was always friendly. He was always ready to help out with anything.
I think Luther was so sincere. And I guess the best way I can think of to talk about Luther, he was honest and straightforward, and people respected his word, and if he asked you, how are you, he wanted to know.
We got into Cookeville. Now this is Friday afternoon, raining, and after dark. The tongue broke off of the little camper. What we do, we call Luther Mathis. Luther Mathis comes out there. He takes us to the shop. He welds it back. I didn't even know the man could weld. He fixed the camper. We're on our way. But Luther Mathis was always had a hand out to help you.
Well, it's about Luther years and years ago that a lot of people didn't know about him. He and Joe took two young boys in. One of them was from the Taft Reformatory, which was 4 boys, kind of southeast of here. The other one ended up in the prison in Nashville. And they took them in, raised them just like they were their own. And it was boys that no one else wanted in their home. And, you know, and that just shows the kind of person that Luther was.
To share the first ever TGA Pioneer Award, Luther Mathis of Cookeville. Also receiving this first Pioneer Award, Thomas R. Bell, the first person to sign the original TGA charter in 1964, who later served as TGA president in 1971 to 72.
I first started working with Tom directly about 1967 after I went to the Jefferson and Cott County utility. He was a tough negotiator, but he was fair. I guess if you look under the dictionary of a company man, you'd probably find Tom Bell's name.
Tom was the person that really started the Tennessee Gas Association. It was tough the first years, very few people involved, but Tom kept it going.
Company man? Yes. But also family man, 4 children, 11 grandchildren. Community man, chairman, management committee of the 1982 World's Fair, chairman of the YMCA, chairman, advisory committee, Southern Gas Association, trustee, Webb School, chairman, Fort Sanders Hospital, Covenant Health, on and on and on, yet always the consummate natural gas company man.
Tom, you know him, he had wisdom, he had patience, and he had many attributes, but if I had to pick out 2, I would say that for Tom.
Well, I would know Mr. Bell as being somebody with Mr. Johnson. And when Mr. Johnson and Mr. Bell were together, you just kind of stayed out of the way. I know they had great respect for one another and were great friends, but I can remember times when the door would close and the volume would go up between the 2 of them. As a pipeliner and a supplier that was buying gas from Mr. Bell, those were, sometimes when Mr. Bell walked down the hall to see Mr. Johnson, you just kind of went to the other end of the building.
Tom Bell, leader, doer. Tonight, for this brief moment, what better way to share the history of the TGA than to share the handshake of 2 of its true pioneers? Ladies and gentlemen, the first winners of the Pioneer Award, Luther Mathis and Tom Bell.